8:04 on a Tuesday morning, and I trust everyone's ready for another go round on Island Tea. Tuesday, January 14, 2025. Smack dab in the middle of January already.
No,
And just yesterday
the
was
14th and we're in the middle?
yeah, close enough. Still the middle.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, just yesterday was December 28th, and next thing you know, and you wake up and it's
Oh,
January 14th.
I tell
Man, tomorrow it's going to be like
What?
Holy Thursday or something.
Not so fast. Not so fast at all. Good morning to you. Good morning to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, to the regional and international diaspora. A pleasant good morning. How are we doing on today, Tuesday, as Jamsta said?
Well, I'm choosing to make the year gallop along.
You find it's galloping, though?
Huh?
You find it's galloping?
No, I'm just talking crap.
Oh, okay. No, it's a real question. I just wanted to make sure.
I was reading over the weekend how someone was this scientist was talking about why it is that when you're older, time seems to go faster.
Mm-hmm.
And the main premise was that apparently different animals experience time differently.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also use the example of, you remember when you were a kid,
Mm-hmm.
and during the summer vacation it felt so long.
Mm-hmm.
You agree with that, right?
I do, and now
And
it flies.
And then now it flies. They say it's
Being the
because
adult.
yeah, he says it's because when you're what did he say again? I think when depending on wait, let me, what was it? What did he say again about the difference between when you're an adult? Apparently, because when you're younger, you're taking in things differently,
Mm-hmm.
so the time seems to go slower. And now that we're adults, it just seems to gallop along because maybe we're accustomed of the world, and we maybe don't take in the world in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I'll see if I find it.
Okay.
I thought it was pretty interesting. Yeah, but yeah, it's crazy how, for real, like,
Time flies when you're an adult.
yeah, because you remember like Christmas Eve, and I remember thinking, God, I can't believe it's Christmas Eve already.
Mm-hmm.
And the last Christmas Eve, the one before, seemed like it was just 2 weeks ago. If you know what I mean,
Christmas is almost here already. People are already counting down
Mhm.
300 and whatever days. I'm just smiling like,
You
oh
see,
my
I
God,
told
these
you.
Christmas people.
I told you, next week Friday it will be like Soca Monarch or something.
Jesus.
That's
Yeah.
what you'll see. But anyway,
How fast it comes. So I have a Tuesday quote. It says it's Tuesday, and it's CHOOSE-DAY. Choose to smile, choose to love, choose to help, choose to be kind, choose to be happy, choose to be you. And there's one more that says, let Tuesday tarnish. Yes, let it tarnish your day with love and smiles. Happy Tuesday. And what you give is what you get. So give the world the best you have, and the best will come back to you. Happy Tuesday. So, Jamster, we know we're going to be having weekly dose in a few. In about 23 minutes, actually. Well, 22 now. It changed to 8. And today's topic is cervical cancer. So, ladies, go tell your girlfriend to tell another girlfriend that the doc is going to be on, and she is going to be talking about cervical cancer. This is Cervical Cancer Month. I try my best to wear the colors that for the ribbon. So, it's teal and white. My white is off-white, but it still works. As we speak
It's
about...
off-white?
Yeah, it's off-white. It's cream.
Okay.
Not white. So,
Okay.
as we
the
speak...
different shades of white.
Yeah, the different shades of white, the different shades of green, just like how I try my best to match teal. This is the closest teal thing I have in my closet. So I said, okay, since we're going to talk about cervical cancer today, let me dress the part. And as they say, we wear the ribbon to remind us as women to get screened so that our detection can be as early as possible and we can be treated. It's not one of the deadliest cancers, though, thank God, but I wish we didn't have anything called deadly cancer. But yes, this is the month for that. I know we normally make a big deal over the pink month, which is breast cancer.
Is that October or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know that's a big deal over there. Everybody
Yeah.
pinking it. We buying everything. We supporting the Tatars. But yeah, we have to also pay attention to the other cancers that are around. I didn't even know lung cancer and brain cancer are two of the most deadliest cancers. I didn't know that. I learned that yesterday, years old.
Really?
I thought
I
all
mean,
of them had a good survival rate, but apparently not.
I mean,
Pancreatic cancer is another deadly one too,
Yeah.
because that one's hard to treat. I didn't know that. Ovarian as well.
that's what killed Steve Jobs.
Which
The-
one?
the guy-
Pancreatic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Yeah.
Imagine you have all the money and you still can't help yourself.
Yeah. But I've noticed a pattern with people who get pancreatic cancer.
Okay, what's the pattern?
He was a fruitarian.
Oh, he ate a lot of fruit?
Yeah, he only ate mostly fruit.
But do you think he know he had it from a while back and that was maybe
No.
his diet? No?
Mm-mm,
Okay.
Because I've
alright.
noticed a pattern with other people when certain things were mentioned, I said, that's interesting.
Mm.
So basically, if you're a fruitarian, it means that you're you presumably ingesting a lot of sugar, right? Which isn't a bad thing necessarily.
And that's
obviously.
what I'm saying. That sugar's supposed to be the good one, right?
Yeah, and so maybe he just had his genetic
Makeup wasn't for that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because you know we
something like
have eat for your blood type that way.
that. Yeah.
I wonder if that even works. But I never tried it, so I wouldn't know.
And then he went off. I remember someone was saying how he went off trying to find when he took time off from Apple,
Mm-hmm.
and he went off trying to get treatment, and he was trying to get like
The natural way?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and that didn't work out.
Oh, boy.
And then someone was saying there was just some particular treatment they thought, and to say he had a rare form of it, but then they said they wished he had some faith in
medicine.
In medicine, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, don't say real medicine, because the real medicine really is the food for the most part. But
Mhm.
I guess what I know.
No, when
they-
I said you
yeah,
understand
I know
the
what
real
you mean.
yeah.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Like the people, the
Yeah,
doctors
mhm.
in the white
Yeah,
coats.
yeah.
Yeah. You wanted the what is that? Neuropathy?
Oh, let me put
Neuro-
it: the people in bed with big pharma. Let's put it that
Oh,
way.
boy. No,
Because
Jesus.
do you know that in the U.S. and some of those big countries, big pharma actually pays doctors to prescribe medicines and so on. Like for
okay.
example, you go to them and they would get things every month from
Mhm.
there, and then they would, I
Yeah.
think they get bonuses for. So
Okay,
it's
still
all
don't want that
about
job though.
it's all about profit,
Well,
terrible.
nobody goes into business to fail. So I
Yeah,
was
but
reading.
healthcare, I feel like healthcare is a human right, and
Mhm.
the profit motive needs to be corralled a little more, as far as I'm concerned.
Mm. So I was reading some stuff and it says lung cancer is the deadliest cancer worldwide, causing most deaths each year. Other deadly cancers include colorectal cancer, the second most deadly cancer, causing fewer deaths than lung cancer. Liver cancer, the third most deadly cancer. Pancreatic cancer, a dangerous cancer that progresses quickly and is difficult to detect early. Ovarian cancer, a difficult cancer to detect early because it often has no symptoms or symptoms that are associated with other issues. Brain cancer, that's glioblastoma, one of the 5 deadliest cancers. And triple negative breast cancer, one of the 5 deadliest cancers. And they say risk factors are smoking cigarettes, exposure to secondhand smoke, previous chemotherapy or radiotherapy treatments, and exposure to very high levels of radiation. Treatment options, listen to this again. Chemotherapy, which I find weird because you're saying risk factors. Immunotherapy, radiation therapy, surgery, and bone marrow or stem cell transplants. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I have to get the month for all of these because we're only familiar with the month for cervical
You're right.
and
So actually, I
breast
didn't
cancer.
know about cervical.
Yeah,
I didn't
that's
even
the
realize this
female
was a
one.
month. No, meaning
Oh, the
this
month.
one now. Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't know about the month.
Mhm.
I just knew about. Like you said, the breast cancer one. Hits us a lot harder,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it's because men like titties and
Oh gosh.
and they and
I don't think so.
I'm just saying,
I think breast cancer was publicized
it's-
more
it-
than all the other cancers. You don't think so?
And it's like in men's interest to preserve that cosmetic appeal, So that maybe
You
that's
see
what,
you?
but it's true.
You see you? That could be true. That could be true. Yeah, but that one to me has always been publicized. You don't hear about bone cancer. You don't hear about cervical cancer like that. You only hear about that when you go to your OBGYN. You don't hear about a lot of other cancers. Just like how I didn't know that lung cancer can kill you and basically make you dead, as a little guy said in Antigua. I didn't know it was that bad.
Well, speaking,
Wow.
which reminds me of the ongoing wildfires in Canada and not Canada. What am I saying? California. I remember last week, Sanjay Gupta on CNN had a segment there where they were asking him about the air quality implications of all these fires, and then he was talking about all these forever chemicals that we use, all the weird plastics, microplastics that you're going to be inhaling, and formaldehyde, and all this really bad stuff, because a lot of stuff that's ostensibly safe, when they burn, all sorts of bad chemicals get released, and some of them just have bad chemicals to begin with. And then, they start to burn the plastics, vinyl, all that stuff, all the coatings on glass and wood and stuff. And he said, and the microplastics, that's like a huge problem as far as environmental hazards. So he said, if you notice, there's a lot of people been wearing masks.
Up there, you mean, or?
Yeah, like you notice, you see some of the homeowners, even the firemen and the newscasters wearing, the reporters.
But the fireman normally has to wear the protection because you shouldn't be inhaling smoke.
Well, yeah, but if you see regular people wearing it because you have all those thousands
Different
of acres
chemicals,
burning,
yeah.
and
Imagine the paint, all of that can contribute to the poison that we
all
can
that stuff, yeah.
eventually inhale.
Burning paint, vanish, all that stuff. God.
I empathize with them. Regardless that they can replace it in a heartbeat, you can't replace what you've built for so many years, so many memories you would have created in there. I see some firemen saving people's albums, like picture albums and stuff like you don't see anymore. Because
really?
everything is on a stick now.
Yeah.
A thumb drive or something. Yeah. I watch a fireman. Caller, good morning. You're live in Island T.
Morning, Kortensia. Jamsta.
Hey, what's up?
And
What?
I like cosmetic appeal.
Absolutely.
I like how you put things delicately, boy.
Absolutely.
There's nobody like you.
Caller, you're just like him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A man of culture, clearly.
It also shows your fetish, huh?
Well, yeah, I guess.
Right,
Yeah.
Kortensia?
I have nothing to say.
She has not.
Well, okay, I'll say it for you. That's why I wear a jacket.
Oh boy.
I was wondering, one of the things that we don't do well here is research, and I'm wondering if somebody could not have researched the effect of, for instance, the factory smoke that when we had the sugar industry, and probably divide it into the western side of the island and the eastern side, because generally speaking, it would go towards the western side. Because I suspect, especially since a lot of asbestos was in use then, that may have some correlation with cancer rate.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And Kortensia, that was one of the things I forgot when we were talking about asbestos. Go ahead, Mac.
Yeah, right. And it would have been quite easy to research. I mean, you can even do back research in the sense of I guess there are records that we can look at, right? Fortunately, that industry is not there any longer.
Actually, it's funny you say that because I remember a few years ago, thinking. One day I went jogging, and then I started thinking. This might have been 5, 6 years ago. And I said, has anyone ever done studies to see if to see what the cancer profile is for the Connery area, especially when they used to do all the burning of trash
yeah.
and so. I remember thinking about that, and
Yeah, right.
and I said, and to your point, you're absolutely right. Because that to me that would have been one of the things would have been one of the no-brainer things to do, to see if there is if that area has a higher incidence, because all those people live over
I
there.
guess we were waiting.
Yeah,
waiting for somebody from overseas to come
Yeah.
and do it for us when they could have quite easily done it.
Yeah.
So who can do that type of study?
Well, any professional, any medical professional can do it.
Okay. Because our cancer rates are rising.
So involved in other things that
Yeah, because every time you hear
they
somebody
prefer to
sick.
wait for the studies from overseas, I guess.
No, but as you said, we can do it. That's why I was asking which specific department, the health department.
The health department,
Okay.
I would imagine, is the
Okay.
one that would certainly do it. And I'm sure they could have gotten some money from somewhere to commission a study like that, because
Yeah.
it's so important to me. And we keep hearing about these lifestyle stuff that can really affect cancers. I mean, you'd think that if the jury is now out on that, it's so definite now that you wonder why people would still smoke.
Yeah.
And what implications that have, if for instance it's smoking, what implications that have for things like the marijuana commission, for instance, because that's one of the ways that marijuana is used. Would we be operating at cross purposes if at the same time we're promoting recreational use and still medicinal uses? You wonder about things like that.
And while I'm a marijuana advocate, right? I've always thought that more education and awareness should be undertaken to let people know that smoking is not the only way to take it, right? And in fact, you could probably argue that smoking is the worst of all the ways
Right.
to use it, because you burn anything. I mean, you're introducing tar. I mean, as you know, tar is what comes about when you burn stuff, and you're taking it into your lungs and all of that. I mean, never mind all the other good chemicals and so on, but you're burning it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
there should be a way. I mean, one of the things I've noticed, for instance, is that traditional sacrosanct ways of practicing one's religion. Let's say, for instance, this wine, breaking of bread and drinking wine. Americans, for instance, used to have the practice whereby everybody drinks from the same cup, etc., etc. And now that has changed. Once ago you never think that would change.
Yeah.
So I mean, so there's no reason why, because of health concerns, and you can't change the practice, long established practices like smoking.
Yeah.
But I suppose there'll be pushback against that.
And the corollary to that is, like I was talking about Connery. Here's another reason why these studies are important, because remember, you've had people living over there for all these decades before we were as maybe educated and as evolved about environmental matters as we are now. It would have been nice to know. It would have been nice to look back and see, okay, maybe the 70s when people started building over there. I mean, I remember as a kid driving over there with my uncles and so. We used to go beach, and then there used to be this restaurant over there. What was it called again? Something Hideaway?
Yeah.
A very popular restaurant.
I remember what you mean, yeah.
Yeah, down on the beach.
Yeah.
And
down on the beach.
yeah, and I remember all that stuff.
The name of it, yeah.
And people live all down there, and they used to be burning trash crazily all that time before we started thinking about even before having
But
a
even
landfill.
us in
and
our
all that,
younger days, Our parents burning trash and we running into the smoke thinking it's cool, not realizing the danger we're causing ourselves.
There you go.
And our parents burn plastics too. Yeah.
There you go.
Right, and but the good thing about it is too is that well, maybe it's not as much now, but those days once you settled in a particular area, your whole family practically stayed in that area, so you could trace family history and get a very good idea of the correlation.
Yeah. Another caller just joined.
Morning,
Hi, caller.
How are you?
I'm good.
Hey.
Well, Jamsta kind of, when Mr. McMahon say about, fortunately, that the sugar factory is not there to burn the smoke anymore, I just kind of remind him that the garbage, the dump is there, and for years, kind of people have endured everybody garbage, everybody smoke. Kind of people is the one who suffered. We take in everybody garbage and inhale everybody's smoke. So I think some research really should be done on the effect that had on the people of Connery for so many years.
Since you were one of its residents, right? Are you aware of the number of persons from that area that would have eventually gotten any type of cancer?
Well, really and truly, there's quite a few. Surprisingly, a good amount of people from Connery have gotten cancer. We even have like a whole family. So
but how
by the way,
research needs to be done.
The restaurant was the Reef.
the Reef? Okay, yeah, that's true.
Right. Yeah.
But let me ask you, Cleo. But do you know for a fact that the incidence was higher than, say, some other area? I mean, a whole family. Yeah, that does sound.
I can't
strange,
say
but
that because I don't know about the other area, but I know that lately, starting from like in the 80s, 90s, coming up there, it's like all of a sudden cancer in Connery is like, you find people, and especially the younger people are developing cancer. So some research should be done about that because real and truly Connery has bore the blunt of everybody garbage.
As the other caller said, it could have been hereditary too. I understand that part.
So that has to be
That's true.
Which is why we, like, to Mac's point, this is why we need to become more scientific about these kind of things, so that we know for a fact that there's something there or there's something not there, rather than here guessing, maybe it's hereditary or, Yeah.
Right.
But we do know for a fact that, smoking is bad for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we avoid
that. Because all the bottles and everything, all the things that get burned, all that is in the air.
Yeah.
All over the island too.
Before people knew, for example, empty aerosol cans, and no one read cans to know, well, you shouldn't puncture them and all that. And
you shouldn't burn them because they pop.
Exactly.
They pop in
and then all that stuff got burned over there, and no one really cared about all those kinds of things.
Wow.
And back then they barely used to bury the garbage.
Exactly. Exactly.
It just used to be set on fire.
Even now, though, when in the grand scheme of things, Connery is very close to the aquifer, isn't it?
Yes, I've always wondered about that.
There can always be seepage. Water always finds its ways to go. Mm-hmm. And that is why, for instance, we look at it, or we don't look at it.
Jamsta, I'll call back with another subject. I don't want to change this one.
That site for the Bastille High School, for one, was not the most ideal, since it was adjacent to the well field over at Pont Nismus. And similarly, put in a solar panel, a solar farm on that area adjacent to the well field is not a good idea either. And not only is it adjacent to the well field, it's also the Basque itself is downwind, would be downwind from that solar farm with all its plastics and I don't know if they're going to use lithium for the battery storage. If there's an event, whether it be earthquake or fire or something like that, Basque can be put at risk. But we learn, I guess we learn to live with these risks, just like where we have that bulk storage, salt bulk storage there at the Newtown Bay Road. That's one of the worst places you could have put a facility like that. But we learn to live with it.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
Until, of course, something happens and then we relocate it.
And then I always say, we got weekly dose coming up next, but then I always say, for example, I always thought that the city dump should have been somewhere else, the landfill.
Nobody wants a dump in the area. Nobody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it could have been someplace where, with very low habitation, right? And also, when you consider that Connery is the perfect adjunct to our main tourism area. Could you imagine if that whole area, Connery and Frigate Bay, was just one big area for hotels and resorts and, I mean, we could have had another strip.
Connery was, in a sense, a pioneering place for the tourism. Remember, we had those beach cottages. Connery Beach used to be a popular getaway,
Yeah.
I guess because Frigate Bay was not as accessible. It was private property and so on. But it used to be Connery. I recall from my boyhood days, going over there, going to the beach to swim and so on.
Okay, we're going to leave it there for now. We got weekly dose coming up next. Okay, so let's do that.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
It's that time of year to win big. Use your Republic Bank MasterCard today for a chance to win prepaid cards, a culinary priceless experience, and free groceries for 3 months. Terms and conditions apply. Visit our website or social media for more information.
.32 and it's time for Weekly Dose, our second episode for the year 2025, and the good doctor is here.
Good morning, Doc. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. How are you guys doing today?
Good. I even tried to pick out, I was telling Jamsta my teal and my white for the cervical ribbon. Yes. So this is my ode to it. So I went, mind you, I had clothes ironed for the entire week, and I still went and looked for this.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, well, as Kortensia mentioned, this month is Cervical Cancer Awareness Month. Though, as she was saying earlier, it doesn't get as much love as breast cancer, but cervical cancer is real. And we're going to chat a little bit about it today. First, a little personal story. I don't know if I've ever told you, Jamsta and Kortensia, that 1997, my mother had been away for more than 7 years living in the U.S.
Okay.
And we were told that she was coming home. I just turned 18.
Okay.
And she came home. She was very sick. She was going to come home. And I was like, Mommy, well, just come home. We just need you home because we hadn't seen you in such a long time. Back in that time, people went away to make life better.
Yeah, indeed.
And they were going to help their kids and try to see if they can improve our life. So she had been away for many years. And so we were told, oh, your mother is sick. We started hearing rumors. And I remember calling her one day and she was crying. I said, Mommy, just come home, whatever it is. And she had a cervical cancer, stage 4.
Wow.
So
Sorry
she
to hear.
came home on April the 25th and died on May the 28th of stage 4 cervical cancer.
So you guys didn't enjoy her for too long.
Well, it wasn't even a month yet, but I
Yeah.
remember the joy of having her back in that short period of time, knowing that she was sick. I remember I had seen some of her paperwork that she had, like the summary of what was going on. You know, back then you didn't know exactly what it
Yeah.
was. I was reading through some of it, and she had a whole lot of bottles of medication, pain meds and stuff. And she died of stage 4 cervical cancer that is quite preventable. So we're going to talk a little bit about it today, and it's not to dampen any spirit, but education is going to empower us in this community. So let's get right into it, Kortensia and Jamsta.
So thanks for sharing that story. Our continued sympathies. You know, stuff like that never get easy.
I think you may have alluded to it before.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not as much, but I seem to recall.
So, thanks for sharing. Oh boy.
So cervical cancer, you know, Kortensia, is a deadly disease, but very, very preventable.
Yeah, that's why I said earlier when we started to the ladies to tell their girlfriends, to tell our other girlfriends that you're going to be on at 8:30 speaking about cervical cancer. So I hope everybody is here and listening. So,
All
Doc,
right.
what is cervical cancer?
So we always hear about the womb or the uterus. So at the bottom there, just as you enter the vagina, a part of the uterus, there's the cervix. So when you put a speculum, that metal instrument in, your doctor is looking at your cervix there. Like when you're going to have a baby, you hear that there's dilatation. So that's the cervix that is opening so the baby can come out. So that is the most distal end there that protrudes into the vagina. Okay? And what happens because of changes on the cells there on the surface of the cervix, okay? It goes from normal cells to changes abnormal cells, and it can lead up to cervical cancer if not removed or taken care of in a timely manner.
Oh boy. We hear about this cancer. I thought it was just one, but then I see it looks like there are varying types of it. So what are the types of cervical cancer?
So when you talk about cervical cancer, we know that I saw a study that showed over 14,000 persons in the United States are diagnosed with cervical cancer every year. In the more developed country, the statistics show that the numbers are less. In the less developing countries, numbers tend to be higher because of lack of screening and things like that. So cervical cancer, as we said, it starts in the cervix there, and the cells can be of two main types: squamous cells. So most of our cervical cancer is going to be squamous cell cancer of the cervix in about 80 to 90%. So that's just when you're talking about the different types. And the other one is as a result of the glands there in the cervix, going to be adenocarcinoma. You could have a mixture of both of these, all right? And those are the most common ones. So most of the time when you hear a woman have cervical cancer, it's going to be of a squamous cell carcinoma because that's the type of the cells that are there in the cervix most commonly.
What causes cervical cancer?
Yes, as many cancers, there are lots of different risks associated with cervical. But with cervical cancer, we always going to hear about the HPV. Okay, human papilloma virus. You would have heard about that, okay? It's a sexually transmitted infection. It spreads through sexual contact, whether vaginal contact, anal contact, where those mucus layers come in contact, and there can be deposits of these virus there. Most times, Jamsta, your body is going to clear these viruses, but a repeated contact with these viruses, they can go on and affect the DNA, right down to the DNA of the cells, and cause abnormal transformation. And then what happens? These cells, abnormal cells, they do not die, they multiply, and then they spread, okay? So with this cervical cancer, we said that in most cases, you're going to have the association with the HPV. There are over 100 different types of these that cause, but mostly going to be a couple of them that is going to be more prominent in having the cervical cancer. There are things like the HPV 16 and 18. You hear those are the two most common that have been associated with cervical cancer.
I'm going to go off a limb here. I normally see advertisements talking about giving teenagers this.
Gardasil and stuff. The
Can
treatment.
this stop the HPV?
So that is part of the treatment and the prevention in early years, okay? Before these young individuals, both male and female, start to have any sexual contact, so that your body can build up the immune system against these more deadly HPV that leads to the cervical cancer. You'll hear things like Gardasil being used a lot. That's the most common vaccine. So it fights against 6 and 11, 16 and 18. Those are the more prominent subtypes of the HPV virus. So it is important because we know that most of all science show that most associated with the cervical cancer is the HPV virus.
Okay, all right. What are the... Go ahead, Jamsta.
No, I was going to ask the same question.
Go ahead.
Warning signs.
Yeah, warning signs. You've got to keep in mind, ladies, and those who are listening, your partners as well. Very early in the disease, you're not typically going to have much signs or symptoms. Okay, so it can go on for many years without you being able to identify that there is a problem. But some of the things that happen as the disease progresses, Jamsa, you're going to hear the woman complain of a watery vaginal discharge that sometimes have odor with it. They can have a brown or bloody-like discharge, which is outside of their normal menstrual cycle.
I was just going to ask.
Yes, it is not associated with the menstrual cycle. Okay, and you can have that bleeding associated with sexual contact. Okay, pain during sexual contact. So you're typically going to see some abnormal discharge there. Oftentimes, early is watery, has a foul scent. If it continues to progress, it can get brown-like or bloody in appearance as associated outside of your routine menstrual cycle. And if you're postmenopausal, you should not have any bleed. So once you start having any sort of abnormal bleeding, you need to have that checked out. Wow. So as the disease progresses, if nothing is done, you start having lower back pain. You can have pain and discomfort when you urinate. You can have blood in the urine, all right? You can have all these different associated symptoms, lower back pain, because the disease has advanced. But in early stages, the symptoms can be almost minimal, and then you start having things like vaginal discharges or blood from the vagina.
I'm just going to say, because I was told persons with fibroids, you get low back pain as well, right? So can the symptoms of cervical cancer mimic other?
No, because we can have lower back pain for almost a number of reasons, many reasons. But by the time you're having lower back pain, pelvic pain, and all these different things, this is telling you that your disease is pretty advanced. We've got a long window that it can address this disease. So your earliest signs or symptoms going to be having that discharge from the vagina and blood in that discharge, an abnormal smelling discharge. Because even if you have a herniated disc, you can have a lower back pain. There's so many reasons, but typically you're going to see that. I just had my cycle about a week ago. Everything cleared up, and now I start having blood again, spotting and stuff again.
Okay.
So who's at risk for cervical cancer? And one thing, is it cervical cancer or cervical cancer?
It's just a matter tomato. So all the culture, same. Cervical. Cervical, yes, the person's accent. So either one is quite fine. So who's at risk for having it? Once you're female, of course, that you're at risk. It typically shows that the highest age, the age group that is seen most is between the age of 35 to around 44 of these persons. So persons who've never had their pap smear done, and we're going to talk about that. So we're not having any pap smear, so it goes unnoticed. That is one of the big red flags, because cervical cancer was very destructive in the earlier years, but because of the screening modality, it has come down quite significantly. And we're saying in today, 2025, we should not lose any women because of cervical cancer, because the screening tool works absolutely. So if you have this HPV virus, so these are persons, especially if you start having sexual intercourse very early, that's a risk factor. So it's recommended to wait later. And I'm recommending that you wait until you are married to have sexual intercourse, Jamster. So that is what we're going to promote to our audience.
In that case, I can't wait till I get married.
It's too much. It's too much
Just
today.
play.
You know how much problems will solve unwanted pregnancy, all these things that
Yeah.
persons were to wait later.
Wait,
So that
yeah.
is important. Multiple sexual partners important. Unprotected sex,
Mm-hmm.
sexual contact, that is important. Okay, smoking, Jamsta, yet again we find that smoking is related to development of cervical cancer. Persons who are immunocompromised, if they're diabetic, if they have HIV, okay? Persons who have high-risk partners. What if you're dating a male or female who works as a sex worker? That person are much more exposed to different things and you come in contact with them. A weakened immune system. But always going to be at the top of who's at risk is the mere fact that you have had exposure to that HPV virus, and it's going to be through some sort of sexual contact.
Just before the other question, I thought of something as we were talking about screening, the pap smear and so on. I've always read and I've heard anecdotally that it's painful, right?
What's painful?
The pap smear.
No.
Getting the...
No,
Really?
no.
No.
Oh, well,
Pap smear is
uncomfortable?
not- It's
No?
a little bit.
A little.
A little discomfort
Yeah,
for
but it's
5
not-
minutes, but
yeah, it's
not
not
painful at all.
Oh,
No.
okay. That's the way it's been described to me.
No, no. I don't know your descriptions, Jamsa.
Oh,
But
okay.
we want to make sure that women know that
Yeah.
a pap smear is not painful. You're there 5-10 minutes,
And that's it.
and you get
okay.
the sample taken, and you're gone.
Yeah.
A little bit of discomfort,
Yeah,
but that
that's
is
Okay.
quite manageable.
Well, this was my question. No,
What was
well,
it?
you're saying it's not as it's. You're saying that maybe the women I've spoken to have maybe made it seem worse than it is. But in the case of prostate cancer, you can do the PSA test as
Yes.
opposed to the more invasive thing that guys don't like.
You mean having a digital
Yeah,
rectal examination?
is there anything similar for women, like that blood test or anything that can?
No, we're not going to have a particular blood test.
Or whatever, yeah.
But
So
once
other
you get
than
your
yeah.
screening, your
Your
pap
pap.
smear. you're gonna
That's
get
the
a
only
pap
thing?
smear. Yes. in
Yeah,
terms
that's
But we
okay.
can do testing for the HPV. That is also very
Oh,
important.
okay, that makes sense,
That's,
yeah.
that's part of it. But you still need samples of cell, and you're checking for the HPV virus.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So how long can you I know you talked about how it takes it there's this big window between So how long can it go unnoticed?
So what happened with these precancerous changes, these changes are going on at the cellular level, you're not going to know for a long time. You really do have a large window. So these are women who haven't had pap smears or haven't had
okay.
any checks for years, okay? It's not that you're missing a year or two. It's people who haven't had checks for many years. So the precancerous cells are changing. And we also said your symptoms are very limited in the early stages, but then it starts to move rapidly as it becomes to, because you have the precancerous cells and then it transforms to cancer. Like early stage cancer inside to stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. So it usually develops slowly over many, many years. That's why we keep emphasizing there's a large window of time that we can address it.
Okay. So you said it goes unnoticed for a while, right? How is it diagnosed, and how early should a woman start getting a pap smear?
So we're going to talk about that as well too, because how you're talking about getting your screening pap smear. So you put in the speculum, your gynecologist or your family physician can do that. You take like a little brush and you get some cells from the cervix and the endocervix. You put it on the slide, and that is looked under the microscope by the trained pathologist, okay? And he's looking for abnormal cells, enlarged cells, structural changes, different things like that, so he can identify if there are early signs or early changes. So then a woman needs to make sure that she has her pap smear. There are guidelines that we're going to talk about, okay, from the American Cancer Society, that we see the different standards that we have with a woman based on her age. They recommend that you start having your pap smear from the age of 21 in most studies now, okay? And you have your pap smear, they recommend you have a pap smear at least every 3 years.
Would the pap smear apply only to those who are sexually active?
No, they also did say no. And I still kind of, I'm not clear on that in my mind, because we've spoken about nuns having pap smears as well. And if you're saying that you're a nun and you're never going to have a sexual contact, but they do recommend starting having your pap smear, okay, in the more recent literature. Okay, so you're going to see some persons record, but it's most that I've researched show that 21, a few may have said 25, but it's very early. Okay.
All right, so let's get back to how is it diagnosed?
So how is it diagnosed is with the pap smear. You're always going to start there. As I said, you can do it at your local health center. You can do it with your private physician, but you just got to do this pap smear. And for women, you make sure you do that. And if there's some abnormal cell come back from your original pap smear, your doctor can then do more investigation. There's something called a colposcopy, like you're looking at a light. You try to stain the cervix, and you're looking for the abnormal changes, and you take biopsy. Always you need tissue. So there are different things you can do there to make sure that you get enough tissue so that you can look at it under the microscope and make a specific diagnosis and stages. In early, you're just going to see some of the intraepithelial changes. So you hear things like CIN1, CIN2, and CIN3 before it becomes carcinoma in situ. So if you have your pap smear and there are any abnormal changes, it can be addressed quite early. There are different things that you can use. Curettage. So you're taking samples by almost using like a spoon-like instrument, and you're scraping the cervix. There is something we call the leap. There is comb biopsy, where you're cutting off the outer layer of the cervix, that it can be done, and you test that. That can also be in very early stages and early changes that can be definitive. Once you remove that outer layer that's been affected or have abnormal cells, that's the end of it, because it can also be diagnostic and curative if there are any abnormal cells.
I have a question though. Now, this stuff sounds uncomfortable and maybe painful, right? But let me ask a question. In terms of these tests, is this a case where any one of those will definitively tell you, or is it a case where maybe you do one and you're like, no, I'm not sure, let's do another? Each one, so you could.
Yes.
So
they're giving you options.
So how do you choose which test you're going to use?
It's going to be based on your physician. They sometimes give you option based on the personal preference. Sometimes the center, what their guidelines require and their protocols. So they have different reasons for doing different. The ability of your OBGYN as well, your gynecologist, and what is he more comfortable using, what he has more access to. Sometimes if you do like a punch biopsy, then you may, based on what they found, you may have to go back and do a cone biopsy. So all depends on what your findings are.
Okay.
Alrighty, so what are the stages of cervical cancer?
So we've talked about having these precancerous lesions. These are the changes initially that are there on the cervix. So, but if it continues to progress or left unchecked, what's going to happen? We often talk about different stages. We've got 4 main stages. All right, stage 1, where the cancer cells is just limit to the cervix right there, okay? And if it continues, it spreads beyond the cervix. It gets down to the upper part of the vagina. It goes up to things like the uterus, okay, further. And if you keep spreading, it will go further down the vagina, spread across the pelvic wall into the pelvic lymph nodes. And once you have lymph nodes involvement, you're talking about a stage 3. And then, of course, you've got stage 4, where this cancer has spread beyond the pelvis. It can also have gone to things like your liver. It can go to your lungs. It can go to your bones, all right, and all your lymph nodes that is in your pelvic region. So we don't want that, of course, but that is it. And why we need to stage it, as usual, your staging would determine what type of treatment that you're going to undergo.
And your life expectancy as well?
Of course, we often talk about stage 1, almost 100%. You can cure it as you go down the stage. Your life expectancy, I saw at least 19% in stage 4. And when we talk about survival, we're talking about a 5-year survival. So in stage 4, of course, your survival drops off significantly.
Wow. So how do we treat it?
All right. So based on the stage, with your gynecologist, your oncologist, if it is an early stage, doing things like the cone biopsy can be enough in an early stage one. Okay. Then you have things like radiation therapy, where you could use those external beams, or brachytherapy, where you place seeds inside of the cervix. You've got chemotherapy, different drugs you inject into the vein. You have targeted therapy that target right down to the cellular level of these type of cancer cells. You have immune therapy, so they boost your immune system, and once your immune system is boosted up, it can fight off the cancer cells much better. So there are lots of different ways you can treat that. Surgical, based on the stage as well too. You can do a total hysterectomy. You can remove some of the lymph nodes in the pelvic. All depends. So the earlier it is diagnosed, the higher the rate of survival, and the less invasive your treatment may have to be.
I had a question on this hysterectomy. If you're young, let's say you're in the 35 to 44 window, what are the complications of having such an early hysterectomy if it is necessary to save your life?
Well, I think you're thinking more about reproduction if a woman wants to reproduce,
Minus
because
that.
minus that,
Yeah.
the complications would be more or less the same in any age group, because you have things like bleeding. You can have later on a hernia from your surgical wound. Different things like infection of your wound. These are early in complication. Long-term complication could mean that you could have a prolapse of the the vaginal wall, different things like that. But actually, the younger you are, your outcome typically tends to be better when it comes to surgery, because
Would
you're
I
healthier.
get early menopause if I remove the...
Well, of course, if you are removing, you're not going to, if you're going to remove your uterus and stuff, you're not going to have a menstrual cycle, definitely. If you have to remove the ovaries, you go into early menopause.
Wow, okay.
Wow.
Most women don't have to do that, though. So all we're going to do is emphasize your screening. So it's not a fear mongering.
I know, it's just to know, just in case.
So, yeah. Well, this my next question. How is it presented? But this kind of dovetails with the
prevention.
The question before. During treatment, I mean, changing your diet, would that help in any way?
Always,
and then you can go on to the prevention
you talk
as well.
about nutrition. Nutrition plays an important role in preventing, and healthier diet is always going to be better, getting your vitamins, your nutrients from the natural sources. Once you have a cancer, your oncologist is always going to recommend that you change your diet as well, lower your consumption of sugars and added sugars that we spoke about last week. Your diet is going to be important. So how do we prevent it? You can get your HPV vaccine, especially in the early years. I think we had a campaign a couple years ago when we were talking to the school children and stuff to get them to get the vaccine. You want to make sure you use condom and protection. Did we not say that the HPV virus is the plays the most important role in that, and it's contracted by a sexual contact?
Yeah.
So you use a condom. You limit your sexual partner. We talk about limit the age in which you start having sexual intercourse. There's no rush. The longer you wait, the better you're going to be. Stop smoking, tobacco, cigarettes, things like that. We want to make sure that we encourage that. And of course, you get your pap smear done. That solves it all if you get these pap smears.
I'm going to ask something that people might want to get me for, but oh well. We see an increased number of young ladies are smoking the herb. Is that a problem too?
Smoking like
the herb.
The herb.
Yeah, is that a problem? Because that's smoking too, but can
That's
that
smoking
contribute to
Here's
that?
what I know, because from most of the data and the research, we're talking about cigarette smoking.
Cigarette, okay.
I'm not saying that things are not going to come out in the wash later on about the effects of marijuana and this, because there are lots of research being done and it is becoming more and more prevalent.
Yeah.
And so, Jamsa, I have a good one for you, and we're going to have to talk about it as a sidebar. You know that the Surgeon General of the United States said that they need to start putting label and alcohol as a warning sign.
Yes,
But
I saw that
it
2
increased
weeks
the
ago,
risk of
roughly.
a lot of different cancers. You remember back in the day, it was sexy to be smoking, and
Yeah.
you had your
Yeah.
cigarette, and then they realized that it was so much associated with lots of different cancers. They're now
Yeah.
finding out that alcohol use, so
Yes.
they're even going to the point where they're recommending no alcohol at all. So studies are continuously,
Yeah.
and science is evolving as we go along. So we've got to be careful. So I don't believe that this marijuana is going to be 100% free of complications.
But at
and
the same
diseases,
time, I
but
mean,
we're gonna get
But at the same time, alcohol's components are used for prostate cancer and other cancers and so
well,
on.
what
Like the
components
oil,
are
the
you
oil,
talking
the cannabinoid oil and stuff like. No, it's true.
we've got to discuss more
Yeah,
about that.
I know.
Let's stick with the science, Jamsta. Remember, the science is saying that alcohol is associated with lots of,
boy.
and we need to start putting labels on that. Because
Yeah,
of the
I saw
high
that.
risk.
I saw
oh,
that,
man,
yeah.
I thought about you immediately. I really did thought of you because I say yet again I'm gonna have to have this discussion with my good friend, and he's gonna push back against me. But let's follow the
I
science.
may as well be the patron saint of the rum jumbies, boy. The way people talk about me. But yeah. Oh, and by the way, I did send you an article, and I'm surprised I didn't send it to you when I got it first. I thought about it when we were talking about the prevention and so on.
Yes.
Because, for example, they've said that, I remember reading a thing a few years ago that some of the hair treatments that women do contribute to the same cervical cancer and other.
You mean some of the there's the
the
different
chemicals and so on, yeah.
inside of the relaxers that
Yeah.
we're big
The
on
weaves too?
using
and
stuff.
breast cancer and
No,
so
well,
on.
not the weave.
Well, that one is
the-
about the braids and the weaves.
Yeah.
So the one I sent
and
you. So.
the chemicals in all these hair relaxers.
Yeah.
Oh, they talk
Yeah.
about them
Oh, boy.
associated with some of these cancers.
Alrighty, so let's get to this one right here. So when should we do a pap smear?
Okay, so they break it down by age group. So 21 to 29, the studies show that you should start having your pap smear by the age of 21. If your results are normal, you can wait for 3 years to have your next pap smear. Follow me here. So you can wait 3 years from a normal pap smear, age 21. So there's nothing fine. There's no abnormal cells. There's no early in situ anything. So you can go on and be free for the next 3 years. If you're 30 to 65, okay, you can do the HPV testing. All right. If those results are normal, this is the newest studies that you can wait for 5 years. We also emphasize that we're saying that almost all of cervical cancer is associated with the HPV virus, okay? That's what the study is saying. You can do your HPV testing along with your pap smear. If those are negative, your doctor could tell you could wait up to 5 years. Remember we said that for development of cancer, some persons and some literature I read it last night was like up to 30 years without,
saw that.
you saw that as well too. So we've got a long period of time to address this, but we're just, the women who end up having these late stage diseases because we've not addressed it and educate them enough so that they can come in. And so if you're just doing a pap smear only and it is negative, your doctor will tell you wait for the next 3 years. We also have that older patients from the age of 65, the doctor can tell you do not need any more screening. If you've had your last 3 pap smears that were negative and you have a HPV test and those were negative, in the last 10 years you have nothing positive, your doctor can tell you to stop at the age of 65. So you would have to keep in junction with your OBGYN and what the recommendations are based on what your tests have shown. If you have shown some early changes in your cervix, your doctor can recommend when for you to reevaluate it, okay? If you've had any sorts of treatment, like you've had a leap or you have a comb biopsy, your doctor may say you need to come back within the year. What I want to address, because I spoke to a pathologist while doing this research as well too. The pathologist told me, and I'm hoping that the women are listening, that the women are coming in to have a pap smear every 6 months, and sometimes 3 times a month they're going to the health centers and doing pap smear. There's no evidence that that is needed at all. So that just abuses the resources that we
women
have.
here?
Women here. We're talking about local data. So we're talking about educating our population. There is absolutely no reason for you to have a repeated pap smear. They go to the health center
Why shouldn't the health center tell them that though, Doc?
That's
once
I
is
don't know
fine?
what's going on if they go to
Good
one
point.
health center and then they probably go to another health center, or they're going back to their same health center and they did not inform the nurse that he's doing it. They had one done 3 months ago. But women need to know that you do not need the pap smear.
Once it comes back normal,
yes,
you're good.
yes. So education is going to be power, because women, if they're, I've had people come to me and say, Doc, I need a mammogram. But you just had a mammogram 6 months ago, and that's where you educate them. And a lot of times it's because of fear and lack of knowledge. Knowledge is power, and if
Yes,
they're
it is.
unaware of this thing, you're
Still-
not really sure them.
Still, the vigilance, although maybe over the top, has to be commended, right?
No, because if we're going to follow science, Jamsta, it
You
means
can't
then,
overdo the do.
we can't overdo it, because then there are the associated things. What if I were to say, if you're hypervigilant, you get a mammogram every month? There's no science behind that.
Yeah.
And as we advance as a nation, we have to rely more on the science and data. We say data is king. We have the facts at hand. We just have to educate our people so that they can follow these protocols and standards. So that actually has no benefit. It actually abuses the resources more than anything. And it shows that either our staff is not educated enough, the public is not educated enough. And so the resources at these health centers and outposts are being diminished or depleted unnecessarily.
Yeah, 'cause it's
But
not.
then you just talked about persons possibly, women possibly going to different. Don't they ask you what district you're from? And
You should stay within your district,
Okay.
of course. You should stay, everybody have their district assigned to them.
Yeah.
But if Jane, the nurse, is your friend over in St. Paul's, you would say, I'm going to pass down and you're going to get it done
Yeah.
for me right away.
Okay.
I'm just saying, there's always loophole around things.
Exactly.
Okay, but we want to make sure that persons are educated on these data, that you know that you do not need to do that. So there's no reason to have any woman having 3 pap smear in a year, and there is evidence. Because the pathologists, as they evaluate these slides, they keep seeing the same names documented and coming up. So that is very incorrect. So we got to educate our people to know that.
so chances are it's probably not going to the same place. You would think, right?
Going
Oh
to
no,
the
no.
same
I'm
place.
just no. I mean, because I mean,
Which same place?
In
I'm sorry,
terms
I
of-
just like to
It
laugh.
ends
Yeah.
up to the same pathologist. That's why when he takes his data,
okay,
because
okay.
he's
You can see
it's the same
Kortensia go
Oh, okay.
coming a lot. When she comes to. Yeah.
was here in January, and
Yeah.
Kortensia is back again in June, and then she
What's
comes back
going
in
on?
early December. So
Yeah.
when he's recording his data now, he
Yeah.
said, "But I saw this name just recently,
Yeah.
and it missed stick
I'm
out."
sure. So wait, Kortensia, you went to the Charlestown Health Center in
Oh my God!
so-and-so?
I definitely yes. I took I like
you know. Yeah.
Doc, do we have stats of our cervical cancer
Well,
survivors or patients here in the Federation?
there would be and should be. I do not have them. You know,
Okay.
sometimes I like to come with these data, but I
Yeah.
didn't have. I don't have any. I'm gonna have to ask, but I know that the Ministry of Health collects these data and should have an idea. The good thing about cervical cancer, though, it has decreased significantly in our community.
Good
That is,
stuff.
and worldwide as well. Once we've got a screening tool such as the pap smear, it can almost eliminate that once done correctly.
Oh, that's good.
So once we have a tool to fight a disease, let's use that tool, but let's use it correctly. So we're not seeing women coming with the prevalence of having cervical cancer
Good
at
stuff.
all. So it has dropped off. I heard it's like the 4th cancer when it comes to gynecological cancers, and the numbers are way down. The last study I saw that in the United States, over 14,000 women, of a population of women, 150 million plus women. If you only have 14,000, those are good numbers, but we need to get it down even further to zero. Women, we have to go out and get our pap smear. There's no pain in that. You have 5 to 10 minutes being evaluated, a little discomfort, and you're out of there. But the peace of mind that it gives you for a lifetime once it's done.
Okay.
So our men too, we need to encourage our partners the same way we need to encourage each other, encourage your female partner. Honey, have you had your pap smears yet? Because her health is your health and your health is her health. And if we have a late stage diagnosis, the outcome is worse. The cost of treatment is much more astronomical. Lots of our community members still do not have healthcare studies. People fall to the crack. You're not going to get the first line treatment. So then your outcome is even worse because you don't have access to the best care. So let's start from the beginning and preventing. So we got to put a lot more effort in prevention, healthcare prevention.
Well said.
And I'm grateful that you come and educate us. And as I was telling her, the only months in the year I don't see anything for cancer is August and December. But all the other months is associated with some form or type of cancer. And January, it's just cervical cancer. That's all.
I guess August and December, people just want to concentrate on their summer vacation and Christmas.
I guess, so there's nothing.
Respectively.
Okay. So thank you always for this conversation.
Yeah, a pleasure. It was indeed an informative one. Ladies, I hope you got your friend and you told your friend and you told your other friend. But if you missed it, you can always watch it again and be educated on taking care of yourself and preventing cervical, as we said, we say it differently, cervical cancer.
Yeah, there you go. So that's Weekly Dose. It returns next week. I hope you take a look at the article I sent you.
Okay, will do.
Okay, so 10 minutes after 9 o'clock. That's our Weekly Dose. We're going to go take a quick break and come back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Shopping with TDC just got much easier. Here's how. Log on to shoptdcgroup.com. Shop at your convenience at any time, from anywhere, with your smartphone, tablet, or computer. With our safe and secure payment checkout, you choose the option to pick up in-store or have your goods delivered right to your door. It's that easy. Shop tdcgroup.com, your one-stop online store.
Shop anywhere, shop anytime, same quality you love. Now online. Shop www.shoptdcgroup.com.
And we are back. 11 minutes after 9 o'clock. Another rousing episode and very educational episode of Weekly Dose.
But before we go on and we come off the cancer subject, I just want to finish up with the months. So February is National Cancer Prevention Month. Gallbladder and bile duct cancer, esophageal cancer, brain tumor awareness. March is colorectal cancer, kidney cancer, multiple myeloma, ovarian cancer awareness. April is esophageal cancer again, head and neck cancer, and testicular cancer. May is bladder cancer, brain cancer, melanoma, and skin cancer awareness, National Cancer Research Month. June is National Cancer Survivor Month, so that should be a big thing for all the folks that survive cancer. Then in July, it's sarcoma and bone cancer. It's sarcoma cancer. I hope I said that correctly. September is childhood cancer, leukemia, lymphoma, uterine cancer, ovarian cancer, prostate cancer, thyroid cancer. Wow. gynecologic cancer. October is breast cancer, liver cancer, and menopause awareness. And then November is neuroendocrine tumors, gastric cancer, lung cancer comes up again, and pancreatic cancer. Yeah. And they said Cancer Awareness Months are designated times to educate the public about specific cancers and encourage early detection. So, folks, you heard everything the doctor said. We do recommend that you go out and you get your screening done. Remember, you only have to do one pap smear. You don't have to do 3 too many. But one will let you know that you're good until your doctor contacts you and said it's time to come back and do the others. And as the doctor also recommend, let's try to take our time and don't partake in activities earlier than we should, sexual ones, that is. So for the young ones, take your time. There's no rush to get anywhere in life. Yeah.
You know, they think they know everything, right? So
I know, but still, just wait. Just wait. You ain't missing out on nothing. Wait.
You know, I tell my daughter, I tell my daughter, I said, you know, you're at the age you think you know everything, but you're gonna find out. She's 14, so I said, in about six to 11 years,
you sound like them
you're gonna realize that everything we were telling you, we were right.
Yeah, for your good.
And you do not know everything.
Because I look back on things that my mom said now, and I'd be like, oh yeah, she was saving me from this, or she was saving me from that. Because I thought, you know, she was just too sheltered. But I understand her shelteredness. I appreciate it, and it has made me the individual that I am today. So your daughter is gonna appreciate, as you rightfully say. And my mom said the same things that you're saying to her now. So I'm still alive, so she'll still be alive too, and she'll be grateful, very grateful for it. Yeah.
But you know, even when you're telling them that, they don't believe you.
No, because at that age, you won't hear that man who believe in anything. As I said, no, I understand what my mom was saying and what she was doing and being, I would say, the average person would say overprotective, but I am thankful for overprotectiveness because I would say from many of things that I watch other associates and colleagues had to go through. So I'm grateful, I understand, and I would do the same thing like you're doing if I were to have a child.
I mean, they're looking at you and rolling their eyes and going, "Yeah, doesn't he know I know everything?"
Yeah. I wanted to. I mean? I couldn't wait until I was 16, and then I couldn't wait until I was old enough. And when I got old enough, I wish I was those age to reverse and know what I know and know that I'm not going to do what I was told not to do because these are the repercussions of it. Yeah. So we live and we learn. But for those of us that listen, and your daughter seemed like she does listen to you.
You think?
Yeah.
How do you know?
Listen, we are teenagers. We have to go through all those stages. We roll our eyes. We think we know it all. We can't wait for the age. And then we wish we could turn back time. Because as you said, as adults, time go faster. But as the kids, time look like it never ends. Yeah.
I guess they're generally, I must say, they're generally well behaved.
Yeah. And if you do a good job as a parent, the likelihood of your child turning out well, Jamsta, is high. The probability is very high. Yeah. And you seem to be a good dad. And your wife seems to be a good mom. So, yeah, those kids are in great hands. Yeah. So you guys keep up the good work.
I think you'd make a good mom, too.
Yeah, one day maybe.
Yeah,
one day.
So let's turn our attention to, I know you posted this thing about electric car sales in China rising.
And good old gas. How we trying away the good old boys now? How we don't throw away everything? We throw away coal pot, like I long for some coal pot food because we get fancy oil stove. Then we move up to the gas stove. We throw away the oil stove. You see how we don't just throw away things?
But you can get a coal pot from Nevis. No, I'm serious. They make them over there.
I'll catch the island and go. Since you're sending me to Nevis for everything. Why are you always talking about
the Islander? You can take a boat.
No, that's my favorite boat. Over. That's my favorite boat. The Islander.
The Islander?
Yes.
Is that a 9-seater, 7?
I'm not sure. I don't know the seaters, but it's that's a brand Islander. Plug Eye is the name of the guy.
Did we have to have any of those?
Boat?
No, Islanders.
No.
I know
you're talking about planes?
Is that the plane
I'm talking about the 7-minute boat over the peninsula.
It's Islander, it's called?
Yes, that's a company.
I thought you were talking about
No, the boats have eyes on it.
Oh,
no, fly across the Nevis. Come on, Jamsa. 5 minutes. At the whole ticket, no, Jamsa. Over there is cheaper.
You're from that industry, so.
No.
It's the first thing you would think.
Islander boat. Boat.
Islander boat. Okay.
Boat,
okay.
please. 7-minute boat to the peninsula.
Yeah,
Sir.
I kept thinking. No,
You
I
think
kept
I want to
thinking.
catch a plane?
No,
No.
I used to do it sometimes.
No, sir.
I did it once or twice.
Hello,
I
it's
remember
more
I
expensive.
I remember I had a gig in Nevis, and I had to take a plane like after 7 in the night because the boat,
Nevis
no boat,
Express?
something like that.
When
So
it was
no
in
boat was
style?
running.
No.
Yeah.
No. I was
And the
thinking
plane was full.
boat. Yeah.
It was like a 9-seater. It was full.
No. I was talking about a boat that runs between St. Kitts and Nevis. It's several minutes from the Southeast Peninsula across to the Owali Pier. That's
Yeah.
that.
Oh. I have no idea. I don't know.
No plane, no.
I mean,
boat.
we have so many of those ferries now. It's not fun.
Yeah, we
So
have a
many
lot of
those
little ones that
taxis.
run in between there, yeah.
Yeah, we have a call coming in. Let's
Okay.
see what this person. Hi, caller. What's up?
Good morning again,
Hey,
guys.
Morning.
Okay, here's my other thing. I've read where the nurses at the hospital, Jan Francis, wondering why is there no memorial for the doctor that was run over. They
So
want
there's
to
not a
know
book?
Why is there?
Yes.
Excuse me.
There's no normally when someone dies at the hospital, there is a book that everyone could sign with a little candle.
Right, exactly. That's what the person wrote and said. Normally, there's a picture of the person, and there's a book for people to sign. So they are wondering why is there no memorial set up for the doctor up to now?
Yeah, actually, yesterday I did voices yesterday, and Gregory raised the same point. He talked about there being no book and the usual things you guys just mentioned that are done when a member of a particular.
So then this thing really seems to be political.
Boy.
Because if it's done for all the others, why is it not done for her?
Yeah.
And then you really have to question her being knocked down. Something ain't right. Give her the same honor that you give to everyone else. She was a staff. She worked. She served the public.
Yeah.
So the public should cry out because she served the public.
Yeah. That's fair
Have a
enough.
good day, guys.
Yeah,
Victimization is real. It needs to be stopped.
Yeah, it needs to.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
back
even
to
in that we don't.
yeah.
Let's just
So
give people
so,
what we.
So the point you were making about discarding the old, you're saying you're talking about going from internal combustion cars to electric cars. That's what you meant?
Yeah, we dropping off the gasoline
I
for
don't know.
things that
We don't have that
eventually
many.
may not work.
I doubt if we have 10 electric
Not
cars
here.
here.
Over there.
No,
Because-
well, I mean, in the case of China, I mean, they kind of came to cars late, and they made the decision that they were gonna make most of the cars electric cars. You know, but over here now, I don't know if most people even. I don't think most people trust electric cars, well, which is ironic because you consider the country is so small, an electric car probably makes more sense. The only thing is, you could argue that maybe electricity costs are higher here, but if you have the money and you want to do that and not have to buy gas, I mean, I think one good charge can probably take you for a week or more. Seriously, I mean, I see a lot of hybrids on the road now, which actually surprises me. Yeah, I see a lot of people. In fact, a friend of mine was giving me a joke a week ago that he said his mom has a hybrid, but she was telling me she has a hybrid, but she's never used it on the electric motor because she's afraid that so she tops up the gas every time. And she said her son says, well, why don't you let it do what it's supposed to do, let the electric. But she has what do they call it? Electric car anxiety, where they feel like they're gonna. Where in her case, I mean, she doesn't live that far. It's not the problem she thinks it's gonna be. Caller, go right ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you realize that we can basically just use golf carts in St. Kitts?
Yeah, but what about
The place is so flat. The place is so flat, and the distances are so short. You would think that it makes more sense to go that route.
Yeah, but what about
Right?
what about the creature comforts we want though?
Well,
What about you know we have some crazy rain sometimes. So
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. So we want 8-cylinder something to drive on these roads. That makes any sense? Makes no sense, right?
Well, but you know what? I have one key criterion for buying a vehicle actually. It's the Timothy Hill test.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I have to
could
be.
understand that.
Yes, I should have to be able to go up there with at least 3 to 4 people with the AC on, and the car does it without effort. I think that's key.
That's an interesting test. Yeah, it is, and I see what you mean with that. But generally speaking, though, you'd think that we're right for the introduction of electric cars on a mass scale.
In fact,
Long
electric
distances.
cars would be perfect for that scenario. It would be perfect. Because
not for Timothy Hill.
Yeah, I mean,
It
but
doesn't
that
have
would
that
probably
power.
be, when you think about it, that Timothy Hill would probably be the most taxing thing for an electric vehicle, and in terms of your general driving profile, I don't think. I mean, if you do that once or twice, you go to the beach, you go to Reggae Beach, and you come back, you're fine, because it's not even a long distance to begin with. So
Maybe we should, but we don't have relations with them. I was going to say maybe we should approach China about making here a test site for both electric vehicles and solar power, because I think any one of these islands, I think most of these islands would be good test markets for them. For any electric vehicles, making sure that they can function in a particular environment and so on. Somebody should go to them with a proposal. But knowing the Chinese, they'd love to take it up. You remember when they were talking about transportation, when they used to have a helicopter service between Charlestown and Bastille?
they really. Oh yeah.
Short-lived,
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, to me, that's a good idea. Actually, when you think about it.
Well, I don't know if the operating costs for a helicopter has come down. I think that was the main problem. I mean, it's so much more expensive, I think, to operate a helicopter as opposed to a fixed-wing aircraft.
But
right?
I always wondered, why not a seaplane? Or
I don't think we have the kinds of calm water.
Yeah,
Seaplanes,
you're
right?
right. You're
The
right.
one
Yeah.
that goes between St. Croix and St. Thomas. There are particular bays that are calm enough to make landing. But even there, you've used one.
No, but
I mean, landing in water in a seaplane is an experience.
okay.
You
But the
you
helicopter,
feel
when
like
you
you're
think,
going underwater at first,
but
before
the
it
thing
settles
is,
down.
it could be a helicopter with sea landing capability.
Helicopter, okay, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's what I was
That's true.
thinking.
Yeah. But why would you have sea landing? Why would you want sea landing capabilities when you can just
Well, you could use
land on a dime?
You
so
could.
to speak?
Well, I mean, you could use either if you had to. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, those are we can always look at our transportation system, and I would think that as part of the sustainable island state thing, it would be nice to be able to go to electric. Yes, of course, if we had geothermal developed, it would have been that much easier. But even now, I think we could be exploring solar. Maybe you can just use solar charging stations for the electric vehicles, right? But I think, as I said, it's a matter of taste, the kind of taste we have. We want the comfort and the luxury of the traditional.
But you get that you would get that with an electric vehicle. It's no different, really.
Well, yes, you can. It's just that they tend to be smaller, and
no, every manufacturer. I mean, Hyundai and Kia have electric and hybrid variants of all their cars. So all these cars you see here that are ICE, they have electric variants, and even here they have electric and hybrid variants here.
The hybrid
and Toyota as well.
Electric vehicles tend to be small to compensate for the.
No. But didn't you hear what I just said?
No, but
I mean, you can buy an SUV. You can buy an electric variant of an SUV of, say, a Sorento. Hosfords, I'm sending you a invoice because they're getting free advertising. But anyway,
you can do that now. You're saying?
Yeah, of course. For years now. Yes.
To charge where?
No, not charge, but I mean, I've seen. No, I mean they have, but I've seen they have hybrid variants here too. I was surprised to see TDC. I see a lot of hybrid. What's that one? The RAV4 and others. But the hybrid, those cars charge themselves because they have an IC engine and they have the electric motors. So it means that you don't have to. It must
be awfully expensive, huh? Do you know? Because apart from the engine, the gasoline engine, you also have
the electric motors and the batteries and all that.
I would imagine that there's a cost attached to that.
Yeah,
and certainly,
I remember asking.
Maintenance, I don't know if the maintenance is going to be any different.
I remember asking Congress if when he was going to roll out, rebate, I guess like some kind of concession scheme for buying those kind of vehicles, and he said they were working on it, but we haven't heard anything yet. So I don't know if
because that's one sure way of encouraging it. I mean, if you have a big certainly a reduced tax on electric and on an electric vehicle, that would encourage people to buy because I mean I guess they're much quieter for one thing.
Less pollution.
Less pollution, right? You know, all those things. I mean, yeah, I guess they should look at that.
Kes says you want to throw away the gas.
Well, we have to import the gas anyway, right? So we might as well bite the bullet. And if electric cars have come down, the price have come down. I think the prices are still prohibitive. But if the prices have come down to the point where you can get a small one for a competitive price, I believe there are people who would go that route. People who are not interested in the latest model, Lexus or thing.
But we have hybrid Lexuses here. I've seen them.
And hybrid Lexus,
yeah,
as well. Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, so we're leaning into it then.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm into cars, I noticed that stuff. So you never, I see. Sometimes I go past a vehicle and I see the hybrid tag. I was like, really?
Okay.
You're there more than you would think.
Okay.
You know,
I mean, the familiar Prius one. Those. I mean.
I think there's one. I think there's at least one Prius here, a white one. I know. There's a Honda Insight I've seen too. That's a Honda's.
Okay.
First electric
so gradually
hybrid.
Creeping in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Gradually creeping in.
I saw a Kona last week. I was shocked. That's Honda. That's one of Honda's first electric vehicles, a hybrid. I saw one last week. I was like, what?
Well, I'm waiting to see the what's that futuristic looking Tesla model?
No Teslas yet.
What's it called again?
Don't say no Teslas yet. No. They're kind of expensive.
Yeah, that still waiting to see one of those because those look
Yeah.
I mean, they're very distinctive. The
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
what do you call them? The squarish looking ones. You know, they look very, very square.
I'm wondering. Oh, you're talking about? No, nobody can afford those. Well, I guess people can afford them, but you're talking
You know
about
what I mean?
the Cybertruck, you mean?
The Cybertruck. Yeah, the Cybertruck.
I think that's an ugly vehicle. Sorry.
You don't think it's futuristic?
It's
looks like
too
something out of a
it's
sci-fi
too
movie.
futuristic.
Okay,
I don't.
time hasn't come
Yeah,
yet.
I don't
All right.
particularly like how it looks.
Okay. Okay. But it's gonna be. It's gonna be. No, I thought in cars you want a distinctive look.
Yeah, but
Because
that
you realize that all. I mean, cars now look so much the same, right? The aerodynamics is the same. They look boring now. You want something futuristic. That's
well,
what I'm
actually, the cars that I think have a good styling right now are the Hondas, the new Hondas, like the Honda
New
SUVs,
Hondas,
like the CRV and so. But I think
yeah.
the to me the Cybertruck isn't very practical in terms of the way it's designed.
Well, when the Lexus first came out with that grill at the front, a lot of people found it ugly. I mean, but it was a really bold look that other car manufacturers seem to have adopted. You know that in your face kind of look.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to see how the future evolves in transportation in a small island.
Yeah.
Even the islander that Kortensia was talking about.
The plane.
Huh?
I'm just teasing
No,
her.
no,
I'm teasing her. I'm teasing her.
I realized that you all were talking at cross purposes initially when you were talking the small islander.
Yeah.
And she was talking about But you know, like in the States that they have sections of the highway that they can use as a runway for aircraft in an emergency. I think each state have a section of the highway built like that.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. It's for national security purposes. If for instance, the airports are out of commission in a war or something like that. I think each state has a section of the highway, interstate highway, that they can use as a runway. And I'm wondering if one of the evolution in the evolution of our transport, if, for instance, you can have that section there between St. Paul's and Deep Bay, right? Built like that, so that it can take the same 9-seaters or even the twin auto, right? And cut the time between, let's say, St. Martin and St. Kitts.
It's interesting. It's interesting you said that, because I always thought that maybe they should have another small airport down that
there,
side. Up that side. Why do we say down? You ever notice? You ever notice, right? You ever notice when people are in Nevis, they say, "When are you going down to St." And it's actually up. It's actually up.
I think it's a kind of patronizing.
You go northwest.
Kind of
You're
thing,
going northwest, so you would have to be up.
Yeah. So no, south is considered down, and south is considered.
And north is considered up.
Right.
So
and it also applies to economics as well.
Yeah.
South is considered
bad,
backward, and north is considered, right?
Yeah.
Progressive.
Yeah.
But
I always thought, that maybe they should have a small airport somewhere down there, actually.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, it would definitely make for. It would add to the area, the economic fortunes of the area. Similarly, too, I mean, they can do the same thing with the ferry. How long you think the ferry takes? Makana takes to go from, let's say, Bastille up to the north of the island? It probably takes at least an hour, I think.
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah.
An hour.
Yeah.
Right.
I see your point.
You cut that off the trip to St. Martin if you had some sort of ferry terminal down that side. Okay, Date Bay, let's say Date Bay, right? You know, if the ferry can use there, it would cut an hour and a half off the trip to St. Martin. Right?
I agree.
I think that's one of the things that people get turned off from, the long trip by sea.
And the other thing I always felt like we have too much of a Bastia, a city-centric culture, where the island is small enough where everything didn't need. I mean, even that private terminal that could have been built down, down there.
Yeah, of course.
Up there, rather.
There's no reason why
it had to be up there. Yeah, I mean.
But you know what would change things? Mm-hmm. If you had a highway between Bastia and up that side, the highway is not no island main road passing to the village kind of thing, right? Where you can go from Bastia to, let's say, St. Paul's at Date Bay in 10 minutes on an expressway. That would change. That would be a game changer.
And it's funny.
But they might say we're too small for such things because Trinidad has a lot of highways that goes like over, what do they call them? Over flyovers. That goes varying segments, so it eases the congestion. But they might say we're not big enough to have those.
But that kind of small-minded defeatist thinking really drives me crazy.
At some point, they're going to have to do it anyway, because we developed to the point where they'd have to do it.
I mean, take for example, I feel like you would think. I mean, like to your point, to expand on your point about Seddy McCann leaving. Date Bay to me should probably have been the third. Date Bay should have been what Keon is, in the sense of like the third major.
So it made
conurbation, right? Like
Date Bay the first town.
Exactly. So one of the first towns, at least maybe for the French or whatever. But
there is a selling point to saying that. Well, you can reach to St. Martin in 10 minutes by air, or
exactly. I mean,
it really would make for good economics to do that.
Absolutely. I always thought that. I mean, Date Bay should have been much more developed than it is. Not taking anything away from Keon, but when you think about it, it probably doesn't. You could make a case for Date Bay being much more, let's say, having much more amenities than Keon. I mean,
St. Bart's and things. Maybe Kortensia. Maybe you can look at that for those questions for Friday. Didn't the French use Date Bay as their capital?
That's what he just mentioned.
That's what I said. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, that was the first town.
Because remember, it's named after Dieppe in France.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So even that back then, they realized the potential.
Yeah. Because imagine you had a small airfield down there, and maybe you're on vacation, and
especially where they have otters, that would have been a nice little.
Yeah, exactly.
But we can't move.
Imagine it. Yeah. but there's still a lot of beach to do stuff. I mean, imagine if somebody. A bank, a fire station, a little ferry terminal,
Yeah, well, let's hope it's in an overall development plan for the area. I hope, because we tend to build stuff for now, and then when you look at things, you can't build an airport down there. You have to move houses and businesses and that kind of thing. I would hope there's some overall 50-year maybe development plan that take these things into consideration. Because at some point, you can bet your life that we're gonna develop to the point where that's needed. Unless we all go down to Guyana, because Guyana is where the action is right now.
We can't hold you if Venezuela. We can't hold you. We can't hold you if Venezuela take away all of our spots.
Well,
so you have to help us fight.
Well, the Brits and the Americans are not going to allow that. So
not at all.
Mm-hmm.
right. You know, so you're safe. But I mean that and the bridge, certainly the bridge to Nevis. You know, you realize how those small boats just cut out the larger boats.
Not really. No. I don't think so. No, because the sea bridge still has its purpose. Look, can we say that I connect cut out the sea bridge? Not at all.
I was told the Carib surf runs between Montserrat and Antigua now. That's what I was told.
I don't know. But
it does?
That's what I was told.
But people still go to the regular ferry terminal and catch a boat to Nevis. But for us people that prefer spending more time on land, we catch the shorter one. So we spend most of the time getting over to the peninsula, and then we take it several minutes across the water.
And if you like
but I think the price for the peninsula boats are too high. That's probably why. Okay, because I think most people
$30
just be on the sea for 7 minutes.
$30
rather than
like about $30, right? That's not high.
60 return.
Yeah,
that's not bad. How much is the boat from the ferry terminal?
$30? No, it's more than that.
From the ferry
on the small boats from the
no, it's $30.
Jamsta was there most recent.
$25 or $30 from
$30.
From town to town.
No, $30. I don't know where you got that from.
Listen, you want the speed, you're going to pay for the speed gas, but you're going to get there in 7 minutes, and it's the same price as town.
In fact, when I went up to Nevis, I had to come down before them, and I came down on the iConnect, right? And it was $30.
Yeah.
Oh, the iConnect?
Yeah.
And it's same as the speedboats? I don't
think
yeah.
It was nice, though. Yeah? Might have even been 25.
iConnect, I haven't been on it.
Yeah, it was very nice.
But it takes how long though? Because it doesn't.
Well, it left
I wondered why
Charlestown.
they couldn't use the same docking facilities as the.
Well, actually, I had this idea, right? And I don't know if Farron is listening, but and I'm sure he may have thought of it probably. Well, it left Charlestown, and I got off at Long Point. Not Long Point. What am I saying? Majors Bay. Sorry. Right, and I got a ride with the pilot, who was actually finishing his shift. So I was lucky that. Big up to Tony. I was actually thinking when I heard that the iConnect was coming on board. Farron, if you're listening, think about this. You know that pier down at Fortlands that they started. I don't know if it was intended to be a breakwater. I think I had heard OTI was trying to do a small marina at the time when it was owned by the Pereiras or something. Right. Yeah, I was thinking that could be built out as a docking area for the iConnect. What do you think about that? I actually think
it lose. But then, how long would it take to go from here to Charlestown? It would be Charlestown or Long Point.
Either one, but it wouldn't be much long. It wouldn't be much more. It probably would only be about 15 minutes more.
But it certainly would be more expensive than certainly where the Seabridge route right now. The Seabridge route was ideal, 20 minutes.
No, but I mean the reason I'm saying that is the fact that I actually didn't realize they were leaving Charlestown. Charlestown was a point of departure as well, because when I went down to catch a boat and I realized the iConnect was the only thing that was available, and I decided to take that. So if you have Charlestown as a point of departure, it would have been nice for them to have a Bastia departure point as well. You still have the long I keep saying Long Point. You still have the Majors Bay one in St. Kitts, but you could have had an option for down at Fortlands there. You know.
Yeah. Well,
to me,
I guess they look at the economics of it all.
But I mean that
of course, there's a lot more fuel, a lot more time.
But it's not that much. But is it that much different from? I mean, it's just about half a mile more. I mean, it's not.
No, half a mile.
Mm-hmm.
You mean from
the ferry terminal?
The peninsula itself.
No, from the ferry terminal. From the ferry terminal. Well, but I guess
it's more,
I kind of
half a mile.
Well, I see what you mean. I mean, in terms of saying, okay, I think I see what you mean. Because you're putting the 11-mile route
Right.
into the equation.
You're
So
still using that 11 mile, essentially
Yeah,
still using the
yeah.
11 mile
I guess. Yeah.
thing,
I
which
guess.
you really want to reduce.
I guess.
Yeah. But at some point, it's going to evolve to something.
Yeah.
I guess economics is going to determine everything.
Okay. Caller, go right ahead.
Economics normally settle.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Good morning. Yeah, good morning to you fellas. And,
Hey, what's up?
Kortensia.
Good morning.
Yeah, I'm listening to the discussion, and what I realized, man, Sinkis and Nevis, we're not doing nothing different or unique from everybody else. Y'all was talking about those electric cars. Definitely. Electric cars can do good in Sinkis and Nevis because we are small. You see that Tesla vehicle that was blown up in Las Vegas outside the Trump Hotel?
Mm-hmm.
You see how much time that person stopped to get charged up? It won't be like that in Sinkis and Nevis. And then so definitely a solar farm got to be rolled out. We keep blaming the big countries for the carbon footprint, but if we go into these EV cars, it can be beneficial for the islands based on our small size. That's just my opinion. The only thing we got to look at when the hurricanes come through and knock out the electricity. But by then we will have the electric batteries, the storage capacity. And development-wise, we can have more travel between Sinkis and Nevis, much more travel between Sinkis and Nevis. And as we talk about the compass, north and south, north is up, south is down. Maybe west is down and east is up. But what I'm seeing, the peninsula and Sinkis got to be developed. They got to put a port. They got to put a better facility over there to interact with Wally. Nevis's south side got to get developed. Nevis need a port on the south side to interact with Montserrat, Antigua, and the southern islands in the Caribbean. With that said, the Nevis airport needs to be developed. That's a must. And directionally, I have this weird thought where Bastia has the big international airport. So let Bastia, let Sinkis get the jets them coming in from the mainland and traffic coming in from northwest in the island of Caribbean chain, VI, St. Martin, Puerto Rico. But once those jet planes and those planes touch down in Sinkis, then we utilize the travel back and forth between Sinkis and Nevis. And if somebody's leaving Sandy Point and they want to go to Antigua, or down island, we can develop some traffic flow across the islands even more and utilize the Nevis airport to travel down island. Route the flight of the Nevis down island. Route the flight of the Sinkis northwest United States and the northwest island of the Caribbean chain. That's my contribution, man. Thanks a lot.
Like local traffic and the international airport in Beaufort is for the larger planes. So that's workable. So you're saying that the Nevis, we use the Nevis airport for the Caribbean traffic, so to speak, and then use RLB for...
Yeah, but that's not really practical for people living on St. Kitts, though.
No, if you have good transportation, whether bridge or whatever, between St. Kitts and Nevis, that would accommodate it, no?
Well, if they had the bridge, but
because like I said, it works in St. Lucia because of the distance of Beaufort to Castries. So why wouldn't that work here?
No, I see what you're saying, but we'd have to have the bridge to make it make more sense.
Yeah.
And then we have this St. Kitts is gigantic kind of mentality, like driving down there is far. It's not. There's nowhere far. Exactly. There's nowhere far in St. Kitts. So there were some people carry on. You think St. Kitts is the size of Australia? All the way down there, Black Rocks, all the way down there. I mean, please.
Well, if you've never been to Australia, you feel so. That's understandable.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't. So I was talking to someone, I think, in actually on the same night on the iConnect, and the person was saying that there's no way they would. He doesn't think that that bridge is ever going to be built in our lifetime.
What?
No?
The bridge that connects us to Nevis?
Yeah,
You never know.
I would love it too. I
Yeah,
actually
I think it
think.
will come into fruition,
Listen,
no, but it's when.
I think
'Cause
it would
that'll
be.
make plenty sense.
I think it would be a great tourist attraction
Oh yeah.
if it's
For the region,
if
yeah,
it's
in the
well
region,
thought
it'll
out.
be
Yeah.
a really good, a really great thing.
I mean, you know, one of the things I would do. It would have been. I thought it would be interesting. Like if, let's say, you did the bridge, you see where Booby Island is. I would do a kind of land reclamation around Booby Island. So the bridge would pass there, right? And
That's
you
making
could.
it longer though, I think, because you
No,
have
no,
to
no.
curve
But
around.
no, yeah, I know. But I was thinking, you could have a restaurant over there halfway or something. No, but you're assuming the bridge is gonna start at Majors Bay.
Well, yeah.
Why can't
guess-
it start?
Well,
Why
I'm
can't it
looking at the
start?
closest point.
Yeah, but you look at the hill. But I mean, even if you change that slightly, the distance is not going to change by much. The closest point, but let's say if you go to the second closest point, it might be just about a quarter mile more. I mean, you know, it's not
Okay.
really. So I mean,
But
like,
I don't think, honestly, I don't think it's as difficult a project as we make it.
no,
to be.
it's not.
Just bulldoze Hurricane Hill in Nevis. Go out as far as possible. We do likewise with some of the hills down the peninsula. Go as far out as possible, and just have a small span of bridge in between.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that and the thing about it is, we can do that. We know how to move rocks. That's one thing we're good at. Look at Old Road Bay. Look at the bayfront, the Newtown bayfront. We can move rocks, and we got the rocks. So I don't think it's as difficult an engineering project as it make it out to be. I think it's more politics than anything else.
Well, the
that
first
prevents it
thing
from
I think what needs to happen first is geothermal, so we can make all that money that they like to crow about. That how they like to crow about how profitable it can be. Let's do that first, and then we can use some of that money to build a bridge.
Yeah,
you know?
But in the meantime, honestly, though, and Burl just mentioned it, there are two things we really need to do as a matter of priority that we're not doing. That is fix up the beach down there at Cockershell, the terminal facility. I can't even say terminal facilities because there's nothing there. Get a proper road there. That and the Bayfront, the Irish Town Bayfront in particular. I don't know why those weren't made priority projects for 2025.
Irish Town Bayfront? Explain.
Terrible.
Oh, you mean the mountainside with how you mean with how the buildings look? That's what you mean.
You mean
on Irish Town Bay Road? Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a welcoming place. They turn it into a boulevard or something. You know, they use landscaping to if a place looks kind of thing. We use landscaping. Put palm trees or something. Do something. Even if you ain't got the money to do something bigger and better,
you'd have to move a lot of people out. You'd have to move a lot of people. Yeah, you'd have to move a lot of people out of that area.
No. Why? No, that's the whole point. Look, if you see where the sidewalk area is, if you then put a road over the other side, okay? Just put some piles across and put the road over the other side. And make it a boulevard, so you have two lanes, and in between there, you plant whether some good and some nice palm trees or something else, landscape the area. You've changed the entire thing without moving the people. You don't have to move the people.
I mean, I know Jonelle and Lindsay had spoken about. They had
a boardwalk,
yeah, boardwalk and all that stuff.
They can do that. That should have been made a priority project, you know, because that would have enhanced our cruise port immensely. Okay.
And it would have included acquiring some of those properties along there to kind of give the place a facelift as far as maybe building.
But what I'm saying is you don't have to do that. Right? You can let there go through gentrification process, I think is what they call it, on its own, right? But you can enhance the area using landscaping, a boardwalk and landscaping, right?
But you don't think
you can do that.
But you don't
and
think.
That
I mean,
same area you talked about where OTI was putting the thing.
yeah.
Go back to the idea of putting a nice white sand beach across there to attract people off the ship, and have it paid for. We should get out of this thing that if you develop something, well, you shouldn't have to pay. It's now public, and you shouldn't have to pay for its upkeep. No, if you develop a good beach there, people should pay for its upkeep, right? And for using it.
I agree.
Right?
And also, if you built out that beach, you could make a case for. Well, I mean, I know OTI they said is in legal limbo and so on. But
it should never be sold.
Yeah,
and but anyway, it happened.
But I mean, let's say someone was interested in buying it, having a beach, having that area there built out as like you said, a nice beach area, would do wonders for its prospects,
just
right?
Create a tunnel there at the height. Create a tunnel from the hotel. You can leave the
exactly.
road. Create a tunnel from the hotel right to the beach.
Or even a sky bridge. Even a sky bridge that where you go down a boardwalk, or you walk over the street, and
Yeah, even a sky. Yeah, because they have you can go either way. That's true.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't think we're visionary enough, or think big enough.
I always say.
Like
this is gonna probably insult a lot of the big money people, but I always say the people with money have no vision, and the people with no money have the vision.
Yeah.
I always say that.
Wait, it just happens to be true. It does, in our case, it seems to be true. And the same thing applies to politicians as well. They're not visionary enough, right? I mean, they just look at things in 5-year terms, and that's it.
And then, I think of the line from the Rudyard Kipling poem, which says that the thing is, they don't know, and they don't even know that they don't know. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Is Rudyard Kipling? I thought it was a Turkish proverb. He who knows
not, and knows not that he knows. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Is this Turkish?
No, that would be insulted.
Persian. Wait, is it a Persian proverb? I'm trying to remember.
I think it was a Turkish.
Oh, okay. I'm getting mixed up. I'm actually thinking about I was thinking about that poem "If" by Rudyard Kipling. No, okay, yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's "If" I was thinking about, but that he who knows not. Yeah, you're right. I think I was taught it was a Persian proverb. So, but you're saying it's Turkish?
Well, maybe,
okay.
Turkey.
Okay.
I don't know. They're all intermingled, I guess.
Yeah, best teacher God ever made. Obadiah Williams.
Oh, yeah.
Best teacher ever. I don't care. I've never been taught by anybody else, but that's I put my head on a block. That's the best teacher
he was
God
like
ever
sage,
made.
Man. So full of there's some people who are just like, a Renaissance man kind of.
Yes, exactly.
Just full of wisdom and so on. Yeah, that was him.
Yeah.
Okay,
we got to shut it down now.
Right,
I have some nice comments here. Maybe we should run.
You should run through it.
Yeah, you're gonna go first. Oh,
I saw the one by the. I'm gonna go with by Newtown Bay Road. Has a similar boardwalk look and feel, but the area is still run down. Yeah, where the fishermen come in, we could use that too. And then there's, why don't they make the Monkey Hill bus terminal at All Kind of Things Market? Buy it out. Yeah, so somebody said that's private property though.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so maybe that's why.
Burl says the bridge has to go at the closest point. Yeah, but closest point could be second. I mean,
Right, weird. I think down to the peninsula would be the closest point and straight across. So it's closest to the airport and most of the stuff.
The problem there is the land is private land, which I don't understand how.
In Nevis?
Both sides.
Oh.
I don't understand how the government could allow that. But anyway.
Okay. I guess then we have to do it from town to town then. It'll work out either way. And we just drive over. And we still have the ferries because, sometimes you don't want to drive. You just want the experience of the ferries.
But then Burl is saying they can blow down hurricane hail and push it out into the ocean. But they can also, if you notice, when you turn in to go down by Cockleshell, there's a big hill on the right? I sometimes when I drive across, I said the bridge can probably, if they use that as a slope to go up, it could start from there as well, and then, I don't know, I'm not an engineer, but...
Listen, all things are possible. We just have to put our mind to it and see it through. Look, St. Martin gets bridge after bridge, quite agree they can, and it works out.
Cleo
so we can
says
do the same thing.
Cleo says that bridge ain't happening no time now because people in authority, all they have is lip service, no action.
Oh, boy.
You are not wrong, Cleo. And that area to the left side of the road when you leave Sandy Point going west is also a good place for a solar farm. Let me see. That area on the left side of the road. Left side of the road? Oh, when you leave Sandy Point. Okay. Yeah, okay. Is a good place for a solar farm. And as those brown lands are not being utilized.
No, boy.
Brown lands? What do you mean by brown lands? Only if you meant to put another word.
In Nevis?
No, down in the New Guinea area, I'm thinking.
Oh, okay. Brown as in the owners of it, their names are brown? What is it?
I don't know. And I was told the iConnect does not go to Oli Bay because that dock is on... Yeah, that's what I was just saying, And here's a study that I just ran into saying that we were talking about cancer this morning. The study has shown, and this is good news for the men, that frequent ejaculation can lower prostate cancer risk. The study said that men who ejaculated 21 times per month had a 20% lower risk of getting prostate cancer than men who only ejaculated 4 to 7 times per month. And this is for men, by the way, in their 20s and 40s. That's from Cleo. Yeah, I did hear. That's something I read a long time ago. So, yeah, that's probably true. And I agree with the Deep Bay thing. Didn't Denzel Douglas propose a town down that side in the mid-90s? Yeah, that was part of the... what was it called? Whitegate? The Whitegate project. That was supposed to be one of the things that they were going to do. But...
let's hope something come into fruition pretty soon.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Okay. Good morning, Skeeter. Good morning, KJ. Good morning, Kathleen. Thank you for joining us. For all those who are listening, be it on the radio, our Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Channel 40. We're still on Channel 40, right?
Yeah, Channel 40.
Thank you for tuning in this morning. It was indeed our pleasure. And as Jams to say, we have to close it down here, but see you tomorrow on the hump day. Yeah. I think we had a good morning from cervical cancer, cervical cancer to all the different topics and ways we can improve our federation and our social. Is it social? Would it be called social products?
Yeah. Social products. Yeah. Absolutely.
For our people. So hopefully, but tomorrow we have the BBW.
Yeah, from 9 to 9:30 tomorrow. We're gonna have a team from, I don't know if that's the Ministry of Finance, maybe. They're gonna be
the persons that I saw were from the social development and the permanent secretary.
Okay, so BBW.
Yeah.
So from 9 to 9:30 tomorrow, we're gonna have a team from the government explaining how the is it 250 monthly? How that's gonna work.
I think.
Yeah, so they're gonna be talking about that. So that should be. You're gonna be here tomorrow, right?
Should I say yes? Yes, I'll be here tomorrow.
Please be. Okay.
Yes, I'll be here.
Okay, so there's just one thing I want to read here that UN wrote, because I'm trying to understand this. We also need a road from Stapleton via Bayford to Lodge Project, but well, I mean, if it comes down into, I don't know. He should know. I have to ask him to explain that. I mean, we all know that there really should have been a road across from the Keon area, the Green Valley area, into coming down over into St. Peter's. I'm surprised that hasn't been done yet. Because
where are we? Whoa.
Because I have a friend who teaches at Keon High. He has to drive all the way around. To me, that makes no sense. You should have been able to imagine having to drive all the way down to go all the way around to Keon. You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so see everyone tomorrow.
I didn't hear you, sorry.
I said see everyone tomorrow.
Yeah,
see
see
you
everyone tomorrow. Remember, have a good Tuesday. Thank you for joining us. It's always our pleasure coming to you every morning.
We out.
Yeah.